Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Market Snapshot series. My name is Rufas Kamau, Markets Analyst at FX Pesa. So once you join in, kindly say hi in the live comment section, and these will confirm that everything is working just fine. So today is a big day. We have already started seeing volatility happening in the markets, especially after yesterday's speech by Jerome Powell, where he basically mentioned that inflation is still a long way to go to get to the 2% target. So we know that the last reading was 4.0%. So he is basically implying that there is more room for more rate hikes before we get to the 2% target. So this told the markets, and we saw a lot of selling happening, especially in equity markets. And of course, the European indices woke up to the same kind of sentiment. So early this morning, we have seen European indices continue to dump or basically go down. So there's quite a number of developments besides the S&B interest rate decision. So from the dollar index, we can see it's a continuation of momentum downwards. Whereas if you look at US equity indices, it was a big sell-off yesterday. For the NASDAQ, today seems to be continuing in the same direction. For the US 500, that is the S&P 500, is the same case, continued momentum since yesterday. And this would mark the 5th straight day that we are seeing bearish momentum happening in US equities. So it's the same case also happening with the US 30. So we are seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th day that we are seeing the US 30 or the Dow Jones continue to sell day after day. So with Powell's sentiments, which basically implies there will be further rate hikes, it basically means that we will be seeing the US economy continue to suffer from further tightening. And as a result, we expect equities to take a big hit from this. So European indices, starting with the UK 100, have had a big sell-off. So you can see it's also a similar thing. This is the 5th straight day that we are seeing this sell-off continuing to happen. Of course, if you are an intraday trader, now you know that we are eyeing the support, and there could be some form of momentum driving the index further downwards to 7,437. So there's some more room for some further downside to be happening for the FTSE 100. So for the European indices, I will be covering the Euro stocks here. So similar case, we have had 4 straight days moving downwards, with the biggest sell-off happening yesterday after J. Powell, and of course today, this morning. So there's still further room for more downside. So if this is anything to go by, this particular technical pattern, then there's quite a number of support levels that we could be targeting. So one of them is a low that we experienced in May, around 4,249. And of course, the extreme low that we saw last month is all the way down at around 4,210. So there's still room for more downside momentum, perhaps around this area here. And of course, if we break that area, then we could also go all the way down to 4,210. And this is a big sell-off happening. So another key thing to notice is that we had a triple top formation, which is a reversal pattern. So the market attempted to break the level of 4,412 3 consecutive times. And in each time, it was unable to break. So after testing here last week, you can see the momentum was very bearish, and the Euro stocks has been basically moving downwards. So there is a good chance we'll be seeing some further downside in this one, and perhaps the ultimate bottom here will be the neckline around 4,210. So if I was to extend this line, then we'll be expecting something along this line here. So that being mentioned, let's look at the S&B and what it has announced early this morning. So the S&B, which is short for Swiss National Bank, was due to report its interest rate decision, which it went as expected. It raised interest rates by 25 basis points from 1.5% to 1.75%. So immediately after doing this, it also released the monetary policy statement. And after this, there was confusion in the markets as everyone else was waiting for the S&B press conference. So the S&B press conference just started as I started this session. So it's currently ongoing. So we'll be looking to follow up on the S&B press conference to understand the oncoming monetary policy for the Swiss economy. So it's very important to follow up on this. So all you have to do is just go to YouTube and then search the SNB press conference live. Then from there, you'll be able to follow on the live presentation. Of course, you can go to the web TV and find where the live is being presented from the SNB website. So besides this, there will be more news that you'll be expecting for the day. And these will be the Bank of England announcing interest rate data. So this will be happening at exactly 2 p.m. So there will be the MPC official bank rate votes. A vote will basically show you the distribution of voters, how many are voting for a rate hike, a rate pause, and a rate cut. So monetary policy summary will also be released at the same time. And of course, an official bank rate will be announced, where overall we expect that the Bank of England will hike interest rates by 25 basis points from 4.5% to 4.75%. So the key thing that has changed since yesterday is that the inflation numbers came out pretty stronger than expected. So in the previous reading, inflation had dropped to 8.7%. So this drop was very much welcome since the previous number was above 10%. It was 10.1%. So with inflation dropping to 8.7%, we were expecting a second consecutive drop to 8.4%, but this did not happen. Inflation came in stronger than expected at 8.7%, which was level the previous month. So both April and May had 8.7 inflation, and month-over-month change was quite significant. Inflation had increased 0.6% in May. So with this in mind, now the Bank of England members will be pretty much worried about how inflation is trending for the UK economy. And as a response, it's not so bad to assume that they'll go for a stronger rate hike. Maybe they could even go for a 50 basis point hike. So another key thing to consider is the core inflation or core CPI data, which came in at 7.1%. So this was a huge number. I think it's a all-time high. We haven't seen inflation, that is core inflation, this high in a long time. So from the current chart here, you can see since the 2005, we haven't seen core inflation being this high in the UK. So with this in mind, we know that inflation is at an all-time high, that is core inflation, and it's a big problem. So there was some signs of hope coming from PPI, that is a producer price index, which is basically a measure of forward prices. So over the next 1 month, we expect the inflation to be much lower. But from this reading, it was quite worrying for everyone. And of course, retail price index moving up higher. And of course, housing price index also moving higher. From the expectation of 2.6%, we had 3.5%. So this is still significantly bad. So as we get into this meeting, be prepared that 50 basis points hike could also be on the table. But of course, even if we get 25 basis points hike, it's still positive for the GBP. So we'll be expecting to see some strength happening in the UK pound pairs. So for pound USD, you can see it was majorly consolidating. So the previous high here, which was the resistance, now was acting as support yesterday. So once the market got to this area, made a very strong bounce, and now it seems like the pound is ready for a kickoff and a rally towards the upper side. So before or even after the news, there's a good chance we'll be seeing the pound continue to rally against the dollar. And of course, a very short-term target is 1.28462, which was the high of last week. So on other pound pairs, we can look at the pound against the Swiss franc. We are already seeing this happening. So after the announcement of interest rates in Switzerland, so remember, this was priced in. So despite an attempt by the Swiss franc to strengthen against the pound, in the last 1 hour, there was a complete recovery. And now if the Bank of England goes for a strong rate hike, then it will not be a wonder to see the pound making an impressive rally to the previous high and getting to this particular level here, which is around 1.15. So 1.15 seems like a nice target for pound CHF traders. And of course, once we get back to the pound yen, of course, it's usually the most volatile pound pair. So last week's high remains a very nice target. So if you are short-term intraday trader, then this could be a nice target, 182.099. So this could be happening well even before the news at 2 p.m. And of course, the expectation is that we eventually get a break and the pound continues to strengthen against the Japanese yen. So besides these, I don't think we have anything else to worry about in the markets. So after these, we'll get the Bank of England inflation letter. German BOBA President Nagel will be having a speech at 3 or 5 p.m. Then US unemployment claims. FOMC member Bauman will be having a speech at 4:55 p.m. And of course, a second speech by Fed Chair Powell. So yesterday, he was testifying to the House Financial Services Committee, but now he will be getting more grinding, especially from the Senate. So the Senate is usually the toughest battle for Jerome Powell. So in this case, for the semi-annual monetary policy report, he will be presenting before the Senate Banking Committee, and trust me, today he will be getting grilled. So by being grilled, he'll be asked all the tough questions that investors are looking to understand about US monetary policy. And of course, he has to answer. So this basically brings out of our perspective about future oncoming monetary policy for the Fed. So as a result of this, we'll be expecting more volatility to be happening in USD pairs. And of course, we'll be expecting to see some fireworks happening in gold. So speaking of gold, let's look at that chart. So here is gold. Yesterday, we had a big spike downwards. You can see the candlestick that extends all the way down to 1919 and then comes all the way back. And then the second candlestick was green, indicating bullish momentum. So the market did not rally for long before pulling back downwards, but now we are seeing yet another retest of this particular trend line. So here we are seeing a rejection of lower prices and the market attempting to push back higher. So personally, I have a bullish bias for gold. So having observed this pattern on the forward chart, it seems like the market has been oscillating between the two trend lines. And from the reaction yesterday, this was a complete rejection of lower prices. And now my expectation is now we head higher towards the previous trend line. So I will be expecting something along these lines to be happening in this chart. So 1964 seems to be a nice target, and the market is just playing around the support. Eventually, I expect this to be happening over the next couple of days or even over the next 1 week. So this is my projection for gold going forward. So in this case, the market is just attempting to bounce from this area, which has happened 3 times this week, and potentially we could be seeing the market make a rally. And of course, gold is crazy. So the market going for this bottom again will not be a very big surprise. But if this plays out, then it could be a really nice position for the week and maybe for next week. So that being mentioned, tomorrow being Friday, we'll be having another episode of the Market Snapshot series. This will be presented by Samson Mzera, so make sure to turn up. And of course, I'm inviting everyone who has joined this session to come at Nairobi Garage for our Pips and Branch event on Saturday. It will be the Pine Tree Plaza, so make sure to turn up off Gong Road on Saturday. It will be happening from 10 a.m. through to 1 p.m. So if you're not going for the WRC rally on Saturday, then turn up for the Nairobi Garage event, and hopefully we'll have more content for you. So besides this, there is also an announcement I would like to make to you guys. So FX Pesa has been working really hard on improving its products. So the most recent product we have added is over 1,500 shares available for trading on the platform. So if there is one single share, let's say the company is above $1 billion in valuation, then there's a good chance it has already been added on the trading platform. So we added about 1,500 shares. So just go through the list and identify if, let's say, some stocks on your watch list are available for trading, sample them out, let's say on your demo account. And once you're comfortable with how they are working, then you could consider trading them on your live account. So we also have indices, stock market indices on the platform. So it's very important that you check them out. And for instance, we have the MSCI Emerging Markets ETF, sorry. So we have the Vanguard ETFs, Vanguard Growth ETF, Mega Cap, Mid Cap, S&P 500. We have the iShares, Mexico, Chile, Brazil, semiconductors, robotics and AI, energy, financial services, healthcare, medical devices, oil, equipment services, oil and gas exploration, and so on. So if you've been looking for these products to trade, then they are now available. So this is good news for every stock and equities trader. So hopefully you'll be able to find every asset you're looking to trade available on the platform. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you on the next session.